Dear students of class 8A and 8B, this is a lesson already I have introduced you in my previous class. I introduced you in my previous class this lesson named Decline of the Mughals and Rise of Independent Kingdoms. First point, later Mughals. Second, failure of Zagirdari and Mansabdari. Third point, policy of Aurangzeb. And fifth point, agrarian system. First, second, third, fourth, fifth point, the responsibility of Aurangzeb. These are the 5 points. Now I am going to explain. First point, later Mughals. Later Mughals. You know, the Mughals came to power. It's not a sudden incident. That the Mughal came to power and established a strong dynasty, it is not an incident. Took place suddenly. It was an incident, took place gradually, not suddenly. Gradually, the Mughals established their influence in India and proved themselves to be efficient rulers of Afghanistan or Fargana, from where they came and established their rule in India. But the thing is, the Mughal ruler, later Mughals, after Aurangzeb, those rulers came to power after Aurangzeb, they are known as later Mughals. Now what did they do? Later Mughals, they remain busy in acquiring their political influence. They remain busy in wars of succession. They remain busy in establishing their political influence over the nobles, over the Zagirs, although there was no Zagirdari system. But their administrative skills were very less. That's why they could not achieve success. And Aurangzeb, what rule Aurangzeb established, although Aurangzeb was an intolerant ruler of India, yet he did not leave any stone unturned to acquire political power in India or to establish his influence over our country, India. And most of them turned out to be pleasure-seeking. Who are they? They are the later Mughals. As a result, their weakness, their ineffectiveness made them titular rulers. So the affairs of governance fell in the hands of whom? In the hands of nobles, in the hands of nobles, in the hands of in the hands of regional kingdoms. As a result, they declared themselves independent, stopped paying taxes and revenues, and utilized it at the cost of the Mughals, but utilize it in their own ways, in their own purpose. They got their own purpose served, and at the cost of taxes and revenues which should have been collected from the Mughals, but on behalf of the Mughals, they started collecting it and utilize it. But without paying it to the Mughal court, they started utilizing it for their own purpose. And as a result, a number of regional kingdoms emerged as centers of power. So this is a drawback. These are the drawbacks of the Mughal Empire and later Mughals. And next one, failure of Zagirdari and Mansabdari system. Akbar, the famous ruler of the Mughal dynasty, he introduced the Mansabdari and Zagirdari system. Now, what is Zagirdari and what is Mansabdari? Zagirdari means the Mughal officers who worked in the administration under the Mughals. They were provided with lands or zagirs as a payment of their military services, and these officers were known as Zagirdars. The officers who were given zagirs or lands, they were known as Zagirdars. This system was introduced by Akbar in order to save money, in order to deposit the amount of money in their respective accounts, or in the treasury under the Mughals. Akbar introduced the system of Zagirdari, and when Akbar introduced the system of Zagirdari, there were huge acres of lands. These lands were utilized as Zagirdars. So the military, the officers who worked in the administration, they were given zagirs or lands as their military service, and these officers were known as Zagirdars. Akbar later on introduced Mansabdari system. What is Mansabdari system? A group of army were given special responsibilities for the protection of emperor or for the security of the emperor, and they were given special concessions. These officers looked after the military system, looked after the army, established discipline in the army, and looked after the security of the emperor. This group of military officers were known as Mansabdars. This Mansabdari system also was introduced by Akbar. Akbar also introduced it in the Mughal army, and this helped the emperor maintain his army efficiently. The system became weak towards the end of the 17th century. Why? Because the Mansabdar failed to fulfill their function of maintaining troops. Why? Because Mansabdari system became an ineffective method of controlling the Mughal army. Hence, it led to a decline in the military strength of the Mughals. Maximum number of Mansabdars became dishonest. They had no sincerity. What sincerity once they showed during the reign of Akbar, during later part, or during the end of the 17th century, that sincerity, that dedication, that responsibility in the Mansabdars were not found. As a result, the Mansabdari system came to an. The system under the Mansabdars came to an end, or the Mansabdari system was declined. And now, next point, Aurangzeb. Next point, policy of Aurangzeb. Policy of Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb, was a ruler who had adopted many wrong policies. Aurangzeb knew that it was a country, basically Hindu majority country, but he did not give up the policy of religious intolerance. He adopted the policy of religious intolerance. He could not give up it. As a result, which was what happened, he could not establish the rule of the Mughals strongly in the country. So many regional kingdoms, they declared themselves to be independent only because of the wrong policy of Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb from the very, very beginning was very arrogant ruler, very conservative ruler. He did not give any priority to the Hindus than the Muslims, but priorities were given to the Muslims. What technique and method his predecessors adopted, Aurangzeb could not adapt it. As a result, Aurangzeb made all the maximum number of regional kingdoms to be his enemies, especially Satnamas, Bundelas, Marathas, they all had become his enemies. As a result, what was needed most? The money, the amount of money, huge amount of money Aurangzeb was required. Aurangzeb required huge amount of money. Why? To fight against his enemies. Because Marathas, they declared themselves independent. Satnamas, Bundelas, they all declared themselves to be independent. They stopped paying taxes and revenues and insulted Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb wanted to teach them a good lesson. And other, regional kingdoms also were inspired by the Marathas. Although Maratha had no unity, they remained busy in strengthening their own power. They had no tendency to get other regional kingdoms united against the Mughals. They remained busy in strengthening their own power in India. As a result, the Maratha rulers, ultimately Maratha rulers were targeted by the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb decided to teach the Marathas a good lesson. Good lesson. Why? Because the Marathas, destroyed maximum number of properties of the Mughals. Aurangzeb felt insulted. Not only that, the Maratha system or the guerrilla warfare system of the Marathas, made Aurangzeb very much upset. Aurangzeb did not have any knowledge of guerrilla warfare method. As a result, Aurangzeb could not achieve success against the Marathas. Another important factor was the Marathas, became financially strong, but Aurangzeb had no source of income, very less income. Aurangzeb could not achieve success because of a very low amount of income, very less income, and one of the most important provinces under the Mughals was Bengal. So from Bengal, the amount of revenues which were sent from Bengal, that part also stopped paying taxes and revenues. As a result, Aurangzeb had to appoint Murshid Quli Khan to be the Diwan of Bengal. And from Bengal, Murshid Quli Khan, as honest, Diwan of Bengal, he started sending revenues and taxes in a regular way to the Mughal treasury, and Aurangzeb continued fighting against the Marathas at the cost of the revenues, at the cost of the taxes of Bengal. But ultimately, Aurangzeb failed to achieve success against the Mughals. He left his capital for many years, but could not achieve success because of his Deccan policy. He went to Deccan and stayed there for many years, but it was due to the guerrilla warfare process adopted by the Marathas. Aurangzeb could not achieve success. Now, what is the meaning of guerrilla warfare? Guerrilla warfare means a group of soldiers were sent by the Marathas to a place to show the opponents that they would target them from there. They would fight against them from that particular place. But another group of soldiers would attack from the left side. That means from front side a group of soldiers will be there, and from back side also a group of soldiers will be there. So whenever a person or an opponent should consider that they would fight against them they would fight against them from front side, they would attack, the other group of soldiers would attack them from backside. This is guerrilla warfare process. And whenever the backside would fail to achieve success against their opponents, they would attack from east side, they would attack from west side. There is no fixed place of fighting or or throwing swords or throwing weapons for their opponents. This system of warfare is known as guerrilla warfare. It was adopted by the Marathas, and this system was adopted during the period of Shivaji. And the other Maratha emperors, other Maratha rulers also kept on continuing the same technique, same method, and applied it against the Mughals. And ultimately, the Mughals also the Mughals were forced to consider defeat against the Marathas. And next point, agrarian system. What is agrarian system? During the reign of Akbar, the agrarian system which was implemented by the Mughals, strengthened the financial stability of the country. It also made peasants and farmers prosperous because a good system of harvest was there, a good system of planning, agricultural implementation, also good system of plantation was there, good system of supplying water was there, good system of uh, uh, good system of collection of revenues were there. So it encouraged the Mughals to improve, to develop the condition of the people, especially peasants and farmers. Since peasants and farmers were prosperous, rich, and they would pay huge taxes, huge revenues as per the character of their agricultural lands, they had no problems. They were not disturbed by the Mughal emperors. But during the reign of but after the rule of Akbar, the system of the condition of the peasants and farmers became more and more miserable because of the wrong policy of the Mughals. After the death of Akbar, Jahangir continued the same technique and same method, same agrarian policy as his father used to follow. But after the death of his Akbar's son Jahangir, Jahangir's son Shahjahan could not follow. Jahangir's son Shahjahan could not follow that system only because of his, luxurious lifestyle. Shahjahan led a very luxurious lifestyle, and the amount of money he had, he spent a lot. Why? Because he constructed a number of mosques, number of buildings, number of palaces, and palaces are of exquisite styles, and it also required huge amount of money. That's why Shahjahan imposed many taxes and revenues on the peasants and farmers, and not only that, Shahjahan did not allow anyone else to use his father's property, his father's wealth, his father's ornaments. Suppose one person died leaving huge property, huge wealth for his son or for his children, but after the death of his father, the children had no right to enjoy his father's property or ancestral property. But as per the system of Shahjahan, all the ornaments, properties, these all were seized by the state. sorry. And with that, Shah Jahan spent huge amount of money for the construction of new buildings, new monuments, new mosques, new palaces, and these palaces were of great beauty and charm because of his artistic style, because of his architectural style, because of its design, art, painting. Everywhere the Mughals during the reign of Shah Jahan showed their showed their talents, their skills, their proficiency in every field, so that people, and they did it with a view to attract the peoples of the world, uh, that the Mughals were the rulers of India. They ruled. They ruled. They ruled with they ruled with their skills, with their talents, with their techniques, with their artistic skills, and with their architectural value, and they would live in India in the hearts of the people forever. In order to communicate that message, Shah Jahan constructed a number of buildings throughout India, and one of the most important, in order to commemorate the image of his wife Mumtaz Mahal, he constructed Taj Mahal. And in front of Taj Mahal, he also constructed Jami Masjid, one of the largest mosques of India, Jami Masjid. He also constructed, you know, uh, uh, constructed capital city at Delhi, because his main intention was to transfer his capital from Delhi, from Agra to Delhi. That's why he constructed the Agra Fort. He constructed the Red Fort at Delhi, and that very Red Fort is still now there. Is there, from where every 15th August, our Prime Minister raised India's three-color flag, and raised that very slogan, Jai Hind, Vande Mataram. That very Red Fort was constructed by whom? By Shah Jahan. And by doing it, Shah Jahan established that the Mughals were the prominent rulers of India, and the Mughals' image, the Mughal style of painting, the Mughal style of architecture, the Mughal style of style of construction, style of designs, art, painting, architecture, you know, attracted millions of people of the world who would come, and they enjoyed Mughal style, Mughal painting, Mughal art, Mughal architecture, and they admired the contributions of the Mughal rulers, especially Shah Jahan. And after Shah Jahan, his son Aurangzeb, he totally failed to achieve success because of his wrong policy, as I mentioned earlier, because his wrong religious policy had become a great cause of failure. Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb could not achieve success against the Marathas, I discussed earlier. And next one, agrarian systemization, the responsibility of Aurangzeb. Last point, responsibility of Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb was responsible for the disintegration of the Mughal Empire. Why? Because of his wrong policy. The policy of Aurangzeb was wrong because, in spite of being a ruler of a Hindu majority country, India, Aurangzeb could not feel the pulse of the Hindus. As a result, most of the major portion of the Hindus, they went against Aurangzeb and the Mughals. So what belief and faith the Mughals once got from Indian people, they turned back their face, and hated the rule of the Mughals during the period of Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb did not excuse one Sikh leader, and he was hanged under the instruction of Aurangzeb. So Sikhs, the entire community, the Sikh community, went against Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. Besides, Aurangzeb, made the Marathas to be his enemies, one of the greatest enemies, the Marathas. Why? Because the Marathas, during the period of Shivaji, challenged the authority of the Mughals. Aurangzeb was a ruler, made the Marathas his enemies. Why? Because of his wrong policy, because of his religious intolerance, policy of religious intolerance, made the Marathas to be the Mughals to be their enemies. And this system started during the period of Shivaji. Shivaji, from the very beginning, was determined to teach the Marathas a good lesson. Shivaji once was captured, but he somehow managed other, Mughals and came out of their trap, and ultimately Aurangzeb uh, realized that Shivaji is more intelligent than him, and not only that, Shivaji, before his death, instructed his followers to follow the policy of guerrilla warfare, because the Marathas and the Mughals were not well acquainted with the system of guerrilla warfare method. As a result, the great defeat the Mughals had to consider against the Marathas only because of the financial trouble and guerrilla warfare. Up to this, my dear students. Thank you.